Something you said recently, on a Facebook comment, I think it was with Julio as well, you said there's something far greater than what you think you want.
Oh, yes.
And I just loved that comment. I just thought it was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Talk about there's something greater than what you want?
Yeah.
You said more satisfying.
Yeah.
Yes, I said there's something far more satisfying than what I want.
Yes.
Yes. Because what you want is to fill in this emptiness. If you call the emptiness anxiety, well, then you want to be not anxious. If you call the emptiness depression, you don't want to be depressed anymore. If you feel sexually unfulfilled, you want sex, whatever it is. That's what I want. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with wanting things and trying to obtain them, but that will never end. The thing that's far more satisfying than that is when you don't want anything. I wonder if you've ever had a moment when you just didn't want anything. Some people haven't. They have, but they never recognized it. See, when I say I'm awake and I know it, that's one of the details that I'm referring to. I don't want anything. I don't. I'm sitting here. This is about as good as it gets. If I looked into myself, could I find something that I want? Maybe, but that seems very distant. I don't go there. Each moment has its own suchness. It just does. And when you're on that level, the suchness is fulfilling, even if the suchness is depression or anxiety. I've had this discussion with John Troy, who will be here in a few days. We've had some great conversations over the years. He's a really wise old man. And it's the same for him. He's just happy to be here. And even though his body is falling apart and he's in pain a lot and suffers quite a bit, he's still happy. Now, that happiness doesn't come from getting what you want. If you get what you want, you may be happy for a while. If I think I need a new car and I get the money together and buy one, the first day in the car will be wonderful and I'll be very happy and maybe take my friends for a ride and all that. But then the new car smell wears off and then I have the mechanics to pay and I have to, buy things for the car and then it breaks down and all the rest of it. And then I'm not happy and then I think I need a new car. And that's exactly this circle. I'm not saying that we can just call the whole thing off and get out of that circle entirely. I don't think that's possible for a human. We're always going to want something. But I'm not on that level at all. I don't think about what I want. If I get some urging, like I'm hungry, well, then I will think about what I want to eat, of course. But if no food is forthcoming, I will not sit there and suffer and keep saying, oh, I'm so hungry, I have to eat. No, not at all. The suchness of that moment will be hunger. And I may even become aware that there are maybe 2 billion people in this world who are living that way constantly. And maybe that will be a beautiful thing for me to realize. That's what I mean by the suchness of this, that one's suffering is not something to get out of. If there's any oneness at all, we need to feel our part of it. See, that really would be non-duality in a real sense. To feel what you feel and understand that other people are feeling that also. And you're not alone in that sense. We're all human here, and we're all wounded deeply, deeply. because we weren't received properly by this world. Think of how beautiful a baby really is. If you've had the opportunity to look at one, it's unspeakably beautiful. They're wide-eyed and they're open. And how does that end up with a drug addict at the other end of it? What has to happen to that beautiful baby to make the adult weigh 400 pounds or be a drunk in the gutter? What has to happen to that baby? See, if I feel unhappy, I think that's my part of that happening. It's happening to all of us. And if we're really going to feel non-duality, I say, it's not really about getting free from our suffering and just feeling good all the time. It's about accepting that one's suffering is part of one's humanity. That's what it means to be a human animal with a brain. You realize this is a tough life. People have to work at jobs that they don't really like doing just to get enough money to survive. Some people are in abject poverty, and they were born into abject poverty, and they're not going to escape from it no matter how hard they try. That's their lot in life. So those of us who are fortunate enough to be in this room, in this condition, if that's not enough to make you stop striving, I don't know what you would be striving for. It's escapism. And so I've been long-winded. I tend to spin these things out, but when you ask me, what do you mean when you say there's something more than what I want? That's what I'm talking about. To feel connected is more than what I want. To feel that I'm part of the human situation is more satisfying than getting what I want. Much more. And to feel that I can contribute honesty to this world about my own suffering, my own difficulties, with honesty, that's a lot better than what I want. A lot more, not better, a lot more satisfying than what I want. And so, although I am suffering, I'm suffering in a satisfying way, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Well, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because I think all of us here already know this. When we look into our own hearts, we know that we're lucky. We really do. If we look at this whole world, I think living in Norway is quite a bit better than living in some war zone. It just is. Yes? I mean, it's got to be. And when I wake up in the morning and walk out to the beach, our place is just about as far from the beach as this place, a little further. I just feel fortunate that I live in a beautiful place. What more, if I ask for more than that I can have breakfast and go for a walk and not be molested and even be alone if I want to, what more could a man really want? Well, a lot more, so you could make a list, but I don't. I don't have such a list. And if I did, I would burn it and blow the ashes away, truly. Because it could be so much worse. It could, and it might be in the next moment.
It has been.
It could be, and it might be, and eventually it probably will be. We all really know this. And so if I'm fortunate enough to be now sitting up in this chair, I wasn't 3 months ago, I was flat on my back. This is fortunate. And if I feel some pain, I do. It's fortunate that I can feel pain and sit up instead of feeling pain and stare at the ceiling. Really fortunate. So if I know that the next minute is not guaranteed and that anything can happen and that it might be a lot worse, People my age are wondering if Alzheimer's is on the agenda, for example. That's 25% of us will end up that way. God, I hope I don't. I really do. But since I know that that's possible, now if I am cogent, I'm going to make the best use of it that I can, even if I'm in pain. So what? Being in pain and cogent is a whole lot better than having Alzheimer's, and people won't tell you. Yes? I've given another speech. It's getting ridiculous. What?
Well, with that, you have some other, not concepts, but you have some other perceptions that you put in there as well with that, and that's that it's all just a happening, and it's happening subconsciously or beyond our understanding. So you're just really witnessing all of it and experiencing it from a neutral place, or do you, with that last statement, or is it are you still there accepting all that, or are you at a place where it's just a happening and you're flowing with it and you're content with whatever's happening?
Well, it's not a neutral place.
Okay.
And this goes back to something you were saying before. I don't remember the exact words. Oh, you were saying it's all just what's happening now. That's not quite the way I experience it. This is very hard to characterize. There's something that continues. There's a kind of essence of Robert that's different from essence of Mike. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
I would. So I would never claim that I'm seeing this world neutrally. I'm not. I'm seeing the world through my eyes, my experiences, my comprehension, my understanding, my nervous system, my subconscious material to which I have no access, but it's not the same as yours. You grew up in one family, I grew up in another. You had your programming, I had my I don't know what that is, though. I know what some of it is, but there's always going to be a big piece of it that is unknown to me. And that's all part of the way that I see the world. So I wouldn't say that it's neutral. What I will say is that when I had this awakening, and this happened a long time ago, 35 years ago, what I understood is that I'm not making this world be the way it is. This world is the way it is, and I'm part of it. I'm not the doer of any of this. I can't make anything be one way that it can't be. See, there's all this mythology that if we just try hard enough, we can influence everything. You'll succeed if you just keep trying and just, yes, if you work hard at a task, you might fulfill it, and you might not. It's not up to you really, because there's all this subconscious stuff that you mentioned that's part of the mix, and you have no control over it, and you can't fix it. And so when I speak this way, I would never say that what I'm speaking is truth with a big capital T. I don't think it is. I think I'm speaking truthfully about my experience, and that's the best I can do. And that's why I say people have tried to put me in this teacher role, and I got into it for a couple of years, and I found it terribly disappointing. It hurt me because I started saying things that weren't true. They were like boilerplate. They were things I'd heard, and they were recorded in my mind, and when I was pressed for an explanation, they came out. And that's why I stopped doing that. And that's why I understand people like Rupert Spira. I kind of really understand where the cat's coming from. He's parroting some things that he has heard, and he now believes them. I don't think he's lying. He believes them. And he really he's probably really well-intentioned. He has a beautiful tone of voice. When you hear it, I don't think I can speak that way. Oh, well, it's just so lovely. But it's not truthful in the sense that I mean truthful. It's a reflection of something else that he thinks is the great reality, but I think it's the words of Francis Lucille or whomever influenced him, who was influenced by Papaji or whoever that, I don't know that lineage, but whatever it is. I have said things and written things years ago that I don't agree with now. I don't. I said them, and they seemed okay at the time, but when I really look into them, no, I would never say that now. Well, if that's true, and it is, then how can I regard the things that I'm saying now as truth? That would be a disastrous failure to learn. You'd be very stupid to do that and to be ruled just by your feelings. Just because something makes you feel good or you feel you're speaking the truth, that doesn't make it true. Not at all. Our feelings have evolved. Well, let me take a step back since I'm now giving a talk, which I vowed not to do this week. But it's not going to be possible. I can see that. So I'll just continue. I see things biologically, psychobiologically. I believe that what we are now evolved in the same way that our bodies evolved from previous beings. So our feelings evolved. We're now capable of many different kinds of feelings. I see now that we're going to have to wrap this up because we want to go to dinner. So I'll take this up another time. So I think we're done for today. And I'll give the biological lecture at the next go-round. Or maybe we'll discuss it over dinner or something.